Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is the Mental Breakdown. I'm your host, Joey Velez. Happy Sunday, happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there. Today's episode is strictly going to be related towards them. So, no sports psychology information, no scales, just good old fashioned gratitude towards the mothers that we have in this world. Gratitude is something I start off each episode with, and today being Mother's Day, there's two people in particular that I am extremely grateful for. One is my mother, one is my sister. Uh, I can think of my mom, and she's someone who has always tried to support me the best way that she can, no matter what my situation is. I've been in situations where I don't want to say I was broke, but I didn't really have a solid, steady income. And she did what she could to provide for me to make sure, that I had what I needed, whether it was letting me live at the house without charging rent, buying me all my groceries, dealing with all the immature things I did growing up. Even to this day, I have a full-time job. I'm pretty uh, in a better financial situation now, but she's still finding ways to try to support me, even though I don't really need it, but I think it's just the offer and the suggestions that she gives are always something I appreciate. One thing I learned from her growing up when I was in high school, she had a job working human resources, and it was a pretty comfortable, steady job and a new opportunity approach. And it was one of those things where it's like, she could stick with the safe, easy route that she was doing, or she could take a big risk and take this new job. And she took the risk, and it turns out the risk epically failed. The job, there were certain circumstances that happened, but she ended up losing that job very quickly after she left her comfortable, safe job. But not once did I hear her complain about what she was doing. Then next thing you know, she gets a new job, and she's doing that for a little bit, and then she gets laid off almost immediately. Again, not once did I hear her complain at all about it. It was just, hey, it is what it is. Let's go on and find the next thing. And then she found her new job, which she just retired from not too recently. So I think what I've really learned from her, especially with that scenario, is that like sometimes you have to be willing to take the jump. Sometimes you have to be willing to risk uh, a comfortable situation because you never know what's going to happen. But then even if those situations don't turn out, you can sit there and complain and feel sorry for yourself, or you can use it as an opportunity to go and seek something new. And that's kind of what she did. I think that's a life lesson that I've taken to this day. I've traveled to Georgia for a new job. I traveled here to Texas to a new job, and both situations were very unknown, very unfamiliar, and I was nervous, but I think leaning on that experience was, hey, sometimes you just got to take the leap and just see what happens. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, great, but we'll find another thing to do, and then I think that goes, it goes a long way in any endeavor that you're in, so it's something you could always take from my mom for all you out there. The other person in my life is my sister. Obviously, growing up, typical brother sister relationship. She's a couple years older, annoying the heck out of each other. And we didn't really get, in my opinion, we didn't really get as close until, she finished up college. I was starting college, and then she started to have kids. Um, and I think both of us kind of realized that family is important, relationships are important, so we did what we could to kind of maintain that and strengthen that. And I think that's where we're at today. I trust that she's always going to tell me what I need to hear, not necessarily what I want to hear, even though sometimes what I need to hear isn't what I want to hear, but I think she does a good balance of, you know, making me feel comfortable, making me feel safe, making me feel like I'm not too crazy, but also giving me, uh, the information I need to hear to kind of help me make a well informed decision, and I think just seeing her act as a mom has been really cool. I love my nephews. I'm very appreciative that she brought those two into my life, into my world. I'm bummed I don't get to see them often because I'm not in the same state, but again, even with what she did to make sure that I feel as supported as possible, finding times to call me so I can FaceTime my nephews, no matter what they got going on, no matter what I got going on. Um, Even in terms of like financial support, there are times, not so much now, but it still happens, but there are times where it's like, hey, a couple $100 to get me through the next few days, and I'll pay you back, and it's no hesitation, boom, it's in my Venmo. Doesn't ask questions, even if the amount raises or lowers a little bit, doesn't ask questions, just knows that, hey, he needs it. Let me give him this money, and then he'll get me back. And I think that's something on me. It's like I make sure I pay people back, so I'm sure it's easier for her. But I think even just she's got a family, she's got two kids, they own a house, so just being able to provide me with some sort of financial support, maybe not seem like much to her, but it usually takes a lot of stress off my plate over those next few days, So um, I think that's really it. I just wanted to share my experiences with the two mothers I have in my life. My mom and then my sister. And if they're listening, which I'm gonna send them this, so I'm sure they'll be listening at some point. But you guys do a great job. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for both of you. Not just financially, but I think being willing to take risks and then kind of just see what happens. So I think you two have a big part of who I am today. I think to kind of wrap this up, a lot of people have been asking me over the last few days, like, hey, what are you getting your mom for Mother's Day? Sure, flowers are nice, sure, taking them out to dinner is nice, but I would challenge you just to call them and just tell them how much you appreciate them and why. Sometimes that can go a lot further than buying gifts. I'm not saying don't buy your parents flowers, don't buy those mothers flowers, don't buy them something nice, but I think telling them why you're grateful for them, why they're important to you in your life, with words can provide a huge benefit as well. And that's all I got for you all today. Have a good rest of your weekend, and don't forget, today is a great day to make an impact. Right, y'all. Have a good one.